Sit down, little Johnny. We need to have a talk. You're an idiot. Today on the ManSpace. Welcome to the ManSpace podcast. We're your hosts, Doctors Matt Brown and Rob Porter, and clinical therapist Mike Porter. Welcome, spacemen. Your kids probably have some real mental health problems. I'm looking at you, spaceman. Your kid's an idiot. Like the idea is that this is a thing about mental health, and it's like, what's the problem with your kid? He's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
Look at the guy. He's an idiot. Just the other day, I said something to my son, and I was like, you dumb dumb. He's like, stop. Can't you just call me dumb dumb? I was like, well, I've called you stupid before, and told my
That
kids
seemed to
they
work
were
out
all
okay.
dorks or something. I tell my kids are dorks all the time, but I don't think their friends know what to do with it.
They ripped your table. I call my kids weirdos.
Even my friends are, when their friends are, I'm like, all right, dorks, what are you doing? And I'm like, their friends are like, what? Yeah, you're a dork. I'm cool. Get over it.
Yeah, you had a weird reaction one time when I can't remember. We were over your house, and I think Natalie maybe was interrupting me or something. We were talking, and I was like, hey, go away. You were like, dude, you just tell her to go away? I'm like, well, we're talking, man. I'll talk to her later.
That's like my, that's like one of our friends. Their daughter, we were over at their house, and their daughter was just trying to be involved in the conversation a bunch. And the mom goes, hey, listen, it's my job to tell you this. You're really annoying. Go away. And I was like, oh, she's like, well, I got to tell her if she's being annoying. She doesn't need to find that out from her friends.
That's actually it's a hilarious chapter in Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life book. It's like, it's your job as a parent to let your kids know when they're doing something that's going to basically make them become socially isolated. Like they need groups and they need, community. So if they're doing something that's working against that, tell them they're an idiot.
Your job. As a side note, too, Mike, you're behind. Matt and I are both watching Frasier now, so get on board.
Yeah, I tell you what,
I'll tell
Mike's
you
already
what.
he's gonna insult it. Don't say anymore.
No, Frasier, I used to watch when it was in reruns.
I thought you said it was back on.
They rebooted it
for 2 years, but it's over.
And then it canceled it again, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wait, so are the final 2 seasons that are on there the reboot? Because it went 11 seasons, the original one, right?
It depends. Are you watching it on like Paramount?
No, I think
Prime.
I think the reboot.
I think the original one went 11 seasons.
Yeah, it's probably not.
One.
No, it's still Frasier, but it's a Paramount Plus exclusive.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't think they released it on CBS, so it's a long shot that they would have it on.
Okay, good.
Prime.
Yeah, the original is just 11 episodes.
Way through season 6, so.
No, I went back and started watching Cheers again. I'm somewhere in season 2. And it's
dude, it's awesome. So it's a vibe.
Like every once in a while it's super funny.
No, it's most of the time funny.
Well, no, meaning there's some times where I'll watch it and I'm just like, I will out loud laugh. I think it's funny. Most of the time, I'm just like, okay. And then I'll go see how many, there's like 26 episodes a season. I'm like, you want me to watch 13 hours? It's not really 13 hours. It's closer to 8 or 9 hours. I'm like, you want me to watch 9 hours of Cheers for one season? Like, I don't like it that much.
Rob made it through
I went through
11 years.
So
I know.
That's what I told when we finished. I was like, Becky, we just finished 11 years of Cheers. But I think I said that last episode. But
Matt wasn't here, so it's new for him.
I don't usually just sit and watch. Most of the time it was I'd be doing like admin work or even like stretching and stuff like that. I can't just sit and watch it. It's background.
And admittedly, like Jenner and I will watch it at the end of the night, like as we're like laying in bed and stuff. And so it's yeah, because that's exactly what Cheers is.
Norm Peterson, hello,
dude. I love Norm and Cliff though. Like Norm, Cliff, and the coach. Like holy crap!
Although Woody's a good replacement for the coach.
Yeah.
He's got the same dumb personality.
Yeah. Plus, like, I really like Woody Harrelson. I watch him all. But yeah, like I'm always tired, and so it's not mindless enough to relax, and it's too mindless to keep my focus.
It's
So
kind
I
of like
last
it's
like an episode and a half, and then I'm like, oh my
Snap.
gosh, this is so boring.
well, I'm not starting this over, so just to catch Spacemen up, Matt and I had a temporary power glitch and it shut the whole building down.
Dude, this is like an alien abduction back here.
Now we're back on track, clearly ready to record. Here's what's funny is, we were talking about Cheers before, but it doesn't matter. We'll move on now to The Pit. I tried watching The Pit for one episode. I made it about 15 minutes the way in. It's won a bunch of Emmys. And
I'm trying to
everyone,
remember who's in that.
it's that dude. He was on ER.
Noah Wiley.
Noah Wiley.
It's Noah Wiley.
I was watching it and I was like, dude, this show is so unrealistically intense. The whole thing, like, who wants to watch this? Is so dumb. The ER.
It's
Pittsburgh.
basically ER,
Yeah.
but on HBO, so they can show more stuff. And
This would be rough.
ER likes that.
But here's what's funny is I went to the ER recently for my wife because after she had the flu, and then all of a sudden for like 3 days, constantly she felt like she was going to pass out after she was getting better. And her heart rate slowed to like, at one point she and I clocked it individually at about 28. Now hers, yeah.
What was going on?
I don't know. So we both.
This is before you went to the ER.
Yeah, like we both have like low resting heart rates just because we run a bunch.
Incredibly fit.
Because we're healthy.
So we go.
Fat man pants wouldn't work on you.
We did. I'm getting a ton of echo now, but we did do an e-visit, and they said it was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, feeling sick. I'd need to see you in person to understand better." And then there's a big bold thing underneath that says, "This is an emergency. Go to the ER." I was like, "Wait, what?" So I was like, "All right." It was like 11 o'clock at night, so we went to the ER.
They couldn't just say that to you out loud?
No, because it was like it wasn't a virtual, it was an e-visit, so it's like chatting back and forth.
Yeah.
So we go to the ER and like, and this is getting into what I talk about The Pit, but I'll get there because I'm like, ERs are not that dramatic. I've been to a bunch, and they're always like, "Am I the only person here who's actually sick?" So we get there and there's like tons of people, and I'm like, "You guys all look totally fine."
They're just
some people are like,
bit.
"Yeah, they're coughing." And one person at some point, we were the last ones to check in, and this lady comes out and says, "Just so you guys know, based on, if you were the last ones to just check in, it'll be about a 5 to 6 hour wait." So I was like, "So maybe here till 5 a.m?" So I was like, "Forget it, dude." So, and I looked around, I was like, and one guy next to me says to his girlfriend, he's like, "Do you want to just go to like Walgreens and get like a whole bunch of drugs and just like really medicate this?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's probably all you guys needed." And when I went to the ER, I had like, when I had my gallstones, I'm like sweating profusely. It's 10 degrees outside. Mm-hmm. And everybody around me is like looking at me like, "What's wrong with that guy?" I'm like, "It's the ER. We're all supposed to look like this. Don't show up here unless you look like me." But then the next day we went to the urgent care.
Which is, where probably a lot of those people should have gone.
Yeah, but it was closed, so we had to go to the ER. So we went to this urgent care, and they, she's like, the lady, they had her do an EKG, and then she comes back and she's like, "Okay, you guys need to go to the ER like right now. They should have let you in last night." It's like, "Well, they didn't." They're like, "Well, did they know your heart rate was this low?" And we were like,
"They didn't even talk to us."
I was like, "I did tell them she had a low pulse." And she's like, "Okay, well, I need you guys we're going to call EMS and have an ambulance take you over." And it's like, "No, it's 2 miles down the road. I'm not paying for that."
Yeah.
She's like, "Then you need to sign this and you take this with you and tell them you have to get in right away because your heart," it's called bradycardia.
Not tachycardia, but
bradycardia is super low.
Yeah.
So they get us in there immediately. And then we're sitting there, and every time she stands up, she's about to pass out. And then the doctor comes in, and ERs are totally designed to be like, "Hey, you're probably faking it. Why don't we just send you home?" Because he's like, "So what meds are you on?" Because she has that head tremor, where her head shakes.
Oh, yeah.
So she takes a beta blocker for that, and then she takes a sleeping pill. And he's like, yeah, it's just those two combined with each other, then the flu. And I was like, that's the answer. He's like, yeah, so just stop taking those for a few days. And I was like, okay.
Well, like in the meantime, can you jumpstart my heart?
Well, we did find out like, she did come off him for a couple days, but both of us were like, what? She's been on these things for like 3 years. Never had a single problem.
Well, the flu, right? Is the only
he's like the
oh right,
but she was already feeling better. Like, but he's like, it's just bad timing. So
weird.
She also found out that if she just has to walk around and exercise and keep her heart rate going, and then things kind of normalize again. But the point of all that story was
the pit.
The pit is total. It's always like, this guy's dying, he's going to kill himself. It's like, that just doesn't happen, man. These doctors are designed to say, you're probably faking, go home.
Yes, but
I'd say 80% are people who don't need to be there.
Right. Most ERs, right? But like, from what I've heard,
yeah,
like Galveston's UTMB ER is like
intense.
It's like that, right? Or like bigger cities or something where people are, maybe there's like a lot more like drug related stuff going on, like,
and I can see
accidents,
and that's
like
the idea.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's a bigger town, and so maybe that's the idea. But
I get it now.
Is that it takes place in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, the pit.
2 T's.
I thought the pit was just some weird name
for 2 T's.
Well, it probably does feel like a pit when you're.
I'm sure that's the metaphor there, but the whole thing.
You know, it got sued, right?
What got sued? The show?
Pit. Yeah,
because of Pitt University
for being a knockoff of
ER.
ER.
You can't do that. Any show can be a knockoff of ER, except for like, but you literally hired our guy.
They claimed that it was too much like it. Yeah, like the storyline, like all of it, they're just like, no, this is way too similar to ER.
I could see that.
And you put Noah Wiley in it.
In this season, the special guest star, George Clooney.
Yeah, it was ER, I think. Megan Oka was guest teaching our abuse, or what was that class at Tech? It was like addictions and violence, right?
Yeah.
I think it was all one class. That was when Lisa was pregnant with Natalie, and I just had this feeling. I'm like, she's going to die. Like, this is when I'm losing my wife, and I'm going to maybe have a new baby, or maybe the baby will die too, and then I'll have 2 kids on my own. I was just like certain. I'm like, it's happening. And then we're sitting in that class, and she shows this freaking clip from ER of a mom dying in childbirth, like in a very similar way that I was thinking it was going to happen because Natalie wouldn't turn. And so I was like, we were contemplating a C-section, but this woman went in thinking I'm going to go natural. And then all of a sudden they're like, we need to do a C-section, but they did it too late. And then full circle, dude. I'm like, finally get over all these fears. I'm talking about this like I was the one that was giving birth. But so like when we go to our scheduled C-section, and they're like, hey, we'll take her back and we'll get everything set up and ready. And then we'll bring you in and we'll get started. I'm like, okay. So it took longer than I thought it should. And I'm like, she's probably dying. And then they come and get me. But it was kind of like a little bit of, I think the urgency was like, oh, we should have got him before we started, but run and get him quick. So it was like, hey, sir, come on. And I'm like, oh, crap, it's happening. I walk in. The view I get when I walk in is like her splayed open. They had already like started cutting. Blood's flying up through all these tubes. And you know, people are working semi-frantically, like I'm assuming you do. And I'm like, what? But I get behind the curtain where her head is, right? And she's like, hey, what's up? Just like, don't look down there.
Dude, it's funny. When I was in high school, we went to like go see like an open heart surgery. And we got to go like stand.
In high school?
Yeah. It was scouts. Like what was the scouts?
Did you have junior mints?
Yeah.
And we I was surprised. I didn't realize like they wouldn't let you be there during the opening and closing. They said that's the hardest part. I was like, what?
Like too many things could go wrong or something, or they don't need the distraction.
Yeah, it's like they wouldn't let us be in there. So that's maybe they pulled you in because it's like she's already open now. You can come in.
Well,
we don't want him here for the opening.
Well, I was in,
or it's freaking you out.
I was gonna say I was in for when Jane was born. She was delivered C-section.
You were there?
They had me in the whole time. I watched,
But you were like,
because they're like,
had the option of looking, right? You could be behind the thing or look.
yeah.
Yeah, I had no option.
And he was like, he's like, where do you want to be? And I'm like, I don't know. And like, it was like, I could just step back. Like, that's all it was.
I mean, look, I don't
like
think
it wasn't
less traumatic than watching your kid come out of your wife's vajayjay, where it's like, whoa, that's a lot to take in.
My daughter that was born in that instance I just described. She's in human development or whatever right now, child development in high school. Yesterday they had to stick like an oversized ping pong ball into a balloon and then blow it up and then like contract the balloon and poop the ball out.
Gosh. Oh, did your balloon tear? Weird. That doesn't usually happen.
Some balloon sutures.
Can I just cut my balloon open?
I was actually just thinking Matt's little story is a good segue into our topic. It's not really, but I'm going to make it one. I feel like I keep hearing myself
about coming out butt first.
It's breach. No, I was thinking, I was like, no, remember, maybe Mike, you had the same experience, but like anytime you took the DSM class, or it's like, or when we were learning about attachment, it's like, oh crap, that's me. Every single thing is like, oh, that's me.
I think I've got OCD.
That's me. Yeah. And it's funny because one of the things that I feel like happens with teenagers, like, is they read about something like, I have that. It's like
the whole world's like our diagnostic class.
And they all think we have some diagnosis. And I've actually done some workshops where like someone would say, can you come in and talk to our, teenagers and about mental health? And at the end of I did this whole thing about here's what depression looks like, here's what anxiety looks like. And then the whole end, like the real take home message was, you probably don't have either. I was like, if you feel like you're struggling with something, go talk to somebody. Like you don't have to have a diagnosis for this thing. You're probably okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like, I usually take a slightly different approach where I tell them, I'm like, yeah, you probably do have it. Like, do you have it enough that you need medication? No, probably not.
Right.
Like, everyone gets anxious. Everyone gets depressed. It's just what we do. Like,
I usually delineate.
Go talk to someone about it.
Yeah, I'll say like, no, look, everyone feels pressure. Everyone feels like we're not enough. Like, that's just kind of normal. Like, we don't have to label everything as like, oh, that's a diagnosis here and that's a diagnosis there.
When you said pressure, you ever wonder whose voice cracks in the David Bowie?
I've never noticed the voice
version
crack.
of pressure.
Under pressure?
Yeah, under pressure.
Like it just happened once?
When they both start, they both say pressure. And somebody, I don't know if it's Freddie Mercury or David Bowie, is like, pressure!
I'm putting that 100% on Bowie.
Yeah,
me too.
Freddie Mercury was just too vocally incredible. Bowie's a weirdo, let's be honest. But I mean,
he was, but he writes some pretty good songs.
Dude, I agree.
Okay. Side note on David Bowie.
But he's a weirdo.
This will get your kids talking about mental health.
Is it Labyrinth?
Oh my gosh, huh?
Is it Labyrinth? That'll get my kids talking about mental health.
It is. So I don't know if you guys know, but it came out again in theaters. I think it's like what anniversary would that be?
Like the 50th?
Came out in the 80s. No, it's not that old.
Okay, this is YouTube exclusive, Spaceman. Because I'm not going to give you any audio. So jump over to YouTube if you want to see this segment
for YouTube. Dude, my wife talks about my wife talks about how much she loves David Bowie. She's like, in those tights,
the plum and the plum pants. Oh man,
David Bowie. Did you guys ever watch Flight of the Conchords?
No.
Yeah.
You should see it. But there's a I think it's at least one episode, maybe it's multiple episodes, but one episode where Jermaine starts getting visits from David Bowie through different eras of his life. It's all just Jermaine dressed up as David Bowie. But it's like David Bowie from like this, the whatever pop phase, it's like And then at some point, you know, like he knocks his table over and on his way out, David Bowie's like, "Sorry about the table, Brett." It's so funny. Go watch Flight of the Conchords today on the ManSpace. Mike, fill us in, because this was, I don't want to, not to, this isn't like pressure, like lead this topic necessarily, but when you say talking to your kids
Why
about
did
mental
this
health,
come up?
yeah, what do you
Yeah.
mean?
Well, so it actually came up because I had a client who just kind of said, he's like, hey, next time, he's like, I want to start talking, like how do I talk to my kids about this stuff? And he's like, I don't want them to be my age to start figuring out they should have been talking about this stuff way sooner. And he goes, so how do I talk to him about it without like freaking him out? Basically, he doesn't want to turn him into like self-diagnosing, right? Like he doesn't want him to like overreact to it, but he's like, but like obviously there's conversations we need to have about it. He's like, I want my kids to, you know, like have kind of a balanced approach. And then there's also just like the other, so I guess there's that aspect of it, right? Like, and at, you know, like what age do you start talking about this stuff? Like, I think is part of the question.
I find the easiest solution is to try to just package all things into one. Talk about sex, mental health, and drug use all in one shot.
All at the same time.
Just a quick 5-minute conversation, just kind of lightly touching on each one should be
and
sufficient.
really point out how mental health plus drugs can often result in sex.
And sometimes people will use sex to cover up their mental health problems. It's a whole thing.
It's true.
So it's really best to just cover it all.
The other aspect
listening.
when I suggested this topic that I was thinking about is like when as a parent you deal with mental health to a, you know, like more severe, maybe clinical level, how much do you let your kids in on that? How much do you say, hey guys, here's this thing that mom or dad is dealing with? Rob's face, what is happening?
Nothing. Keep going. You're having a good time.
I mean, clearly you're listening really well.
I was listening. I even have some thoughts already, but I was. Don't
no,
worry
but
about
just
it.
Like, right, that idea of like, how much do you tell them? Do you tell them at all? Is there benefits to it? What are the drawbacks to it? So I think it's kind of both. How do you introduce this to your kids to help them realize that the emotions and the ups and downs are all just kind of, nope, this is what we do. But then what happens when you deal with it to a level that it does kind of impact relationships and behaviors and stuff? How much do you let your kids in on, hey, this is what's going on with me? And this is where I'm at.
Matthew?
No, sorry. I was thinking about a conversation I was having last night. Our youngest, like, all of our kids have had pretty decent anxiety at certain times. It's usually like 7th grade all the way up to like 10th grade. And then it seems to kind of level out. But I can't remember how it came up last night, but she was saying to us, like, I think this is the thing that makes you the most anxious. Or she was saying, you know, what is the thing that makes you the most anxious? And this is what I think it is. It was funny because she's like, for dad, it's not having a plan and feeling like things are out of control or something. So I was asking her like specifically what she means. She's like on trips. And I was like, it was funny because I was like, no, I do definitely get anxious. But I think the thing that makes me the most anxious is, and I was talking about like just fears of not being able to provide for everybody and having everything, some economic thing that's out of my control. And she's like, see, control. And I was like, well, yeah, exactly. Control is right alongside with anxiety. And so I talked to her a bit about like where I struggle with that. Then I circled back to the trip and I was like, no, the trip's more about you guys just pissing me off. I was like, that's more my impatience getting in the way. And like, yes, you could say it's tied to more like stress of just kind of getting everything there. like anxiety, kind of more, I guess, more like the irrational fear side of things, not like the need for everything to go a certain way type of control, like stress, impatience stuff. And I feel like that's more what she is relating to right now. Is it hits me more like on a, I'm not even aware of thoughts I'm having along the way. It's like all of a sudden my body's doing something that I don't understand, and then that freaks me out. And I don't know what it is about, because I've talked to a lot of people with girls that age where it's like this fear of puking, like a really common thing. So, because that's what it was. She was like, "What do you think my biggest anxiety or what's my worst case thing?" And I was like, "Having diarrhea and puking at the same time." She's like, "Nope, it's puking." And I was like, "Well, see, I told you, worst case, you'd be having diarrhea at the same time." She's like, "No." But
it's my fear now. Thanks a lot, Dad.
Yeah, with her, I feel like with our oldest and our middle, mental health has been a pretty open topic. And as they've gone through things, we've tried to contextualize it more in, like, this is probably what's going on for you individually and inside of your head and all of that. But then there's also all these things that are going on outside of you. And trying to contextualize it as, like you're saying, you're going through a lot of hard things. And, this is how you're making sense of it. She's never really wanted to talk about anything. It's like, nope. So it was interesting to have her bring it up last night, because I remember one time when I was going to therapy, and she was like, I was talking to Lisa about my session, and she's like, "A therapist going to therapy?" And I was like, I said, "Well, doctors go to the doctor." And she's like, "Well, yeah, but that's like physical health." And I was like, "Well," I said like, "Well, mental health is important too." She's like, "Some people are never going to be mentally well." Just walked away.
So she shouldn't be a therapist.
She's like, it's weird. I would say she is kind of the most like in tune with other people and really giving and very generous, and also like really guarded. Like, it's hard to get into deeper conversations with her about how she's doing. She blows it off a lot with humor, and so there's her little way of dealing with whatever she was talking about. But I think each kid's different, but I do think it's important to, like, for me, I think it's important to take it from, yes, whatever diagnostic information is helpful for you, that needs to be part of the picture, but also kind of, like you said, normalizing the experience, and also speaking specifically to the difficulties of their situation and how like internal and external factors play into this, instead of it, we've talked about this before, but it's like, it's not like you can, do a blood test and be like, well, your anxiety levels are at, 35, so you're in the clinical range, and blah. Like, it's an imprecise thing. And I think it's helpful to treat it as, this is not some codified kind of measurable in the same way as other things type of experience that you're having. So we have to take everything into account as we're thinking through how you might navigate through it.
Well, and I think there's something to be said for that. Yeah, this is a thing you get anxious or you get depressed, but it does not, it doesn't have to be the thing that defines you.
Mm-hmm.
I think with our older two kids, they were that part of the generation that it became so much I'm this or I'm that. And so we were a little more hesitant, I think, initially to talk about it with the younger two girls. And then I remember one day, Macy was saying something, and I just go, "Well, yeah, you're anxious." And I'm like, "Of course that's the reaction you're having. Like, you have anxiety." And she was like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Seriously, you didn't know?" And then it just kind of like, because of the way it played out, like it just kind of became this lighter thing, right? It wasn't the thing that defined her. It was just this like, oh yeah, that's a thing that occasionally gets in the way. And that I don't care for, but it's not, long term a huge deal. And so it's been interesting with the younger two to watch. Just they're a little
real
more
loud.
open about it.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's something that I think I want to agree with the idea. I think you're both kind of saying, I do think talking about this kind of stuff early and normally, that's the most important thing I could say, is like, just talk about, like, I think it's kind of weird that we do this thing that's like, we talk about mental health as though it's a thing separate from like your existence.
Yeah.
It is not. It is just, your existence is your mental health. It's just where you are with life. We make it sound like there are people who are mentally healthy and those who aren't. And it's like, we're all not mentally healthy sometimes.
Yeah.
The part that I actually feel like I want to counter argument is, I think, and I use these words, but as we're talking about this, I'm like, I should stop doing that. The idea of like talking to your kids about mental health makes it sound like, okay, now I need to talk about this problem that affects people. I'm like, how about you just, if you do this all along, talking to your kids about, hey, where are you at? Does this make you nervous? Does it make you excited? Do you feel sad? Are you feeling really sad? Feels like you've been sad for days. It's all like, okay, that's human, like, and even saying sad rather than depressed, or nervous instead of anxious, suddenly now, because technically depressed isn't necessarily like depression isn't like a feeling, it's a state of mind. Sadness is a feeling, and multiplied out, then we say, well, you have depression. So I think you talk about your kids' mental health like what it is. What are the emotions you feel? There's that book by the brother of Steven Seagal, Dan Siegel. All right, it's not the same guy. It's not even spelled the same way or pronounced the same way. But the book, The Whole Brain Child, that kind of talks about this idea. It's like, look, you talk through stuff with your kids. You talk about what's going on and what's happening for them, and like I don't think we have to always make things a thing. It's like, yeah, you're nervous. Like kind of what you're saying, Mike. It's like, well, yeah, you said anxious, but it's like, yeah, you're nervous. It's like, yeah, you get nervous sometimes. And that's, we all do. And sometimes when we get nervous, sometimes humans will fixate on things because we're trying to figure out, how do I control the situation to minimize the nervousness I feel? And normalizing that like crazy, I think matters a ton, to say, oh, okay, I do this. And so do a lot of people. And that's okay. Then I know I do it and I can know to anticipate it, but I don't have to stamped label it.
Which is, I think, part of why when I talk about it with people in general, I will often still use the words anxious and depressed.
Well, I do all the time.
Well, that's the thing.
We all
I
use
do
them
it
too.
Intentionally. I do it because they have such a stigma, and I'm trying to get them to recognize, no, it's just a thing. Like being anxious, it's just something that everybody deals with. This is not unique to you. And like, I often won't use depressed and sad because my depression does not often show up as sadness. Like when I'm in a depressive, period, if someone were to come and be like, hey, you seem a little sad. Are you okay? I'd be like, well, I'm not sad. I'm not motivated. Like I'm not, I can tell you lots of things. I'm not. Sad is not usually one of the things that I don't feel sad.
But I mean, I agree with that. And I think that's why it's important to not even use, because I use depression and anxiety, and I will usually clarify to clients, like, I'm not speaking like diagnostically here. I'm just, this is the term we all use now.
Yeah.
But the problem is with both those statements is they're too catch-all. So like if you say depressed, everyone's gonna be like, oh, you're sad. It's like, no, sometimes for a lot of people, depressed feels numb. Like I'm just in a rut. I don't, like I don't feel a lot of hope. I don't, so it matters more to be able to help someone describe, like, well, what do you feel, rather than let's give you that label and now you know what it is. Like, but mine looks different than yours. So I just need to describe what's going on for me. And I think as early as you can with your kids, making that a normal part of conversation, of like, are you excited about this trip? Are you scared about it? You nervous about it? Like, great. Now you're talking about their quote unquote mental health.
Yeah, I do think sometimes, like you're saying, Mike, when you're trying to destigmatize it, like maybe a lot of people have shame about an issue that they're having that could be defined in diagnostic terms. So just saying, yeah, a lot of people experience it the way that you are or feel as stuck by it as you do right now. Anything you can do to take the shame out of it, I think, is helpful. And also, I think for a lot of people, I remember one of my, he was my thesis chair, but I can't remember what class this was in, but he was saying, yeah, for a lot of people, a diagnosis, because we were all kind of like, should we tell people like we're working with, like, hey, you got this, especially if they're not asking. And he's like, you'd be surprised, for a lot of people it's like a big relief, right? Like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That puts a name and some structure to what I'm dealing with. There's a really good YouTube channel called Therapy in a Nutshell, and she's got a video on there about diagnoses, and I can't remember exactly how she frames it, but it's like, if the diagnosis helps you feel educated and empowered towards the tools that are going to help you, it's really good. If it's something that you take on as an identity and then you feel like this is just who I am going to be, probably isn't helping you, right? So I think, like you're saying, talking to your kids about it, like, this is a part of your experience. And I think, this doesn't fit all of my clients' view of how existence works, but for those of it who it does fit, I think it's really helpful to look at it like, there is part of you, and you could find this in everything from really solid neuroscience research to spirituality to religion, but there is a part of you that is bigger than you, right? That is being filtered through your brain. It's being filtered through your body, right? And if you look at it that way, we're all in different vehicles. And so really what I'm asking myself, if I'm dealing with anxiety, ADHD, depression, whatever, is what's the makeup and the interaction of my body, my makeup, my DNA, my everything that's going on for me biologically, the interaction between that and my environment, and this part of me that is more like, exists beyond my body. And I think that helps develop a lot of compassion. Like, your brain is, set up a little bit differently than mine, right? So that's why you look at things this way. That's why your automatic thoughts are more like this. And that's why my automatic thoughts are more like this. So if I tell you, we'll just think more positively, right? I'm not really taking into account the regular automatic thoughts you have. But we all also possess the ability to exert kind of a willful force on those things, right? To introduce change and introduce movement forward. So I think helping our kids tap into kind of both aspects of themselves. And you can do that, I think, through talking about thoughts probably and emotions more directly. Like, what are the automatic reactions you're having to this, right? What are the ones that feel more like something you would want to kind of insert in its place? And how do you navigate that dynamic? Because those automatic thoughts oftentimes are really resistant to any new way of looking at things, right? But how do you feel as we kind of introduce this? Where do you feel it in your body? Like, do you feel a shift when we start talking about it this way? And you don't have to get that technical about it. I think you could do it in a very normal way. Like, how are you feeling after we talked about it? Oh yeah, a lot better. Cool, because we kind of introduced some new ways of looking at it and approaching it. And now you felt like you've got loving people in your life supporting you through it. I think helping them see, like, there is the problem and not necessarily like the solution, but the support. And how are you feeling about both sides of it?
Well, and that's, I think, as I think it's important to remember, like, that as a parent, if you're going to have this conversation with your kid, and I think, Matt, you're exactly right. But I think if you're going to have this conversation with your kid, you have to stay open to whatever they're telling you. Like if it's going to be an ongoing conversation, yeah, there may come a point where they come and they say, hey, things are pretty bad right now. And I'm having some thoughts and I don't like them and they're scaring me a little bit. And as a parent, you have to manage your reaction to that. Like, yes, it is. I feel every time I have a parent reach out to me that's like, hey, my kid is expressing these certain kinds of thoughts, right? Thoughts that that to the parent and to the child is, suicidal to some extent. And I feel for them because that, like, I know that fear. And it's just this scary thing of what to do. And so it is a very difficult thing, but you like, if you want your kid to keep talking to you, it can't become a negative thing. Like you can't, like, well, but you shouldn't be having, no. Like, I hate the word should. My clients hear me say it all the time. I don't understand it. It's not like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me as a functional word. All it says is somewhere there's an what?
I said good word.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere there's an expectation associated with it that, right? And we're just trying to hit this imaginary expectation. But it's just this idea of like, nope, like they shouldn't, it doesn't matter. They are, like, it's where they're at. And so just be curious about it and be accepting of it. And like, if you need to take steps to protect your kid, then take steps to protect your kid, but like, stay calm with them.
Yeah.
And stay involved with them. Don't, like, if they see, like, the number of times I've had a kid where I'll ask them, like, so did you talk to mom and dad about this? And like, yeah. And I said, well, how'd that go? Well, I'm not going to talk to mom and dad about this stuff anymore.
Did not.
And I'm like, yeah, okay. And sadly, like, kids, like, I learned this the hard way with one of my own kids. You get one shot, you screw up the one shot, I don't know when you're going to get another chance. And I hate saying that to parents, especially because, half the time, if by the time they're talking to me, they've already blown that one shot. And I'm like, well, might be a while before your kid's willing to talk to you again. We'll work on that in therapy, though. Don't worry.
Isn't that a line of Happy Gilmore? You blew it.
But it is a little bit, right? Like, your kids are not the most forgiving when it comes to that kind of stuff. I think it's Billy Madison, not Happy Gilmore.
It's Billy Madison.
I was thinking it's kind of interesting to see that, Mike. I think that sometimes that is really true. I think kind of what you're saying, Mike, and building on what Matt's saying too, is this idea that's like, do you have music playing over there? I swear I keep hearing things.
I don't think so.
It doesn't matter.
He keeps looking off over here
too,
like
if it makes you feel better.
Maybe I'm picking up from your headphones like the echo of this. But anyway, so like, I think sometimes too, to say you only get one shot, I think that can be true. And sometimes it is true. Like, sometimes that's where your kid is.
Right.
But
it's not always true.
I think sometimes it's true when you haven't done this kind of broad work of trying to cultivate an environment where it's like, look, this is communication. Sometimes we screw up, and I screwed up. Let's check in. Hey, I think as a parent, to go back and say, I think I screwed that up. Can we talk about this some more? Like, I didn't mean to plow over you like that. What's going on? I think there's a lot of this. That's like I have a hard time with the idea of like, treating this like sex, like, and then you have a conversation about sex, because even sex, it's like that could and should be a much more normal part of conversation, as much as kids aren't going to be like,
and it should be something you're talking about more than once.
Yeah, it's not like and then we had this conversation, case closed. It's like, talking about this is so important to be like, hey, we're talking about what it's like to be you. Kind of what you guys are both saying. Like, everyone has their own lived experience. What's it like to be you? And how do I help you navigate that area? And sometimes it is like what you're saying, Matt, and Mike, you're saying this too. It's like, well, this is for you. This is what this looks like. And that does sometimes it's helpful to say, okay, if it's depression, let's look at what yours is and how you can work through this. And all that really matters in that conversation is saying, hey, look, I'll go through this with you. That's what, Mike, what you're saying. Like, you're not there to judge. You're there to say, well, let me go through this with you. I don't want you to have to go through this alone. So I'm here. Let's go.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest you blew it moments
You blew it
is often like the most well-intentioned thing. And I think we're so quick, just because of our protective response as parents, maybe we're so quick to jump right into a reframe right as our kids starting to open up about what it is they're, dealing with. And that's, like you said, that's their first attempt to see, can I talk to you about
how
this?
Mom
And
and
is it
Dad
going to go well?
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think, just leaning into, that blows. That is really hard. Right. And asking more questions and just letting them open up a little bit more about it.
Which is like, that is one of the most common things I'll tell, like, as I'm talking about validation with parents and the need to validate their kids, is this idea of, as parents, we feel like we can see it, the issue so quickly that we want to jump straight to, well, let's look at it a different way. Let's try this approach.
Yeah.
The kid's not done talking about it, then they just feel like they're being dismissed and not heard. And I'm like, you've got to, hear it all the way through. That validation becomes so important.
Yeah. I do think another technique that sometimes can, because it's like that's probably the general rule when your kid's trying to talk to you about something, and maybe they don't talk to you very much and they're talking to you for the first time about it. So yeah, lean in on the validation. When it becomes kind of a more persistent way of being with a problem, I think that's where maybe other ways of responding can be helpful too. Like, one of my daughters is very quick to just, if she feels anxious about something, just all of a sudden start to say how much she hates places, people and things, right? And so oftentimes I've just tried to listen below that, I guess, and see if she'll talk to me about what's really going on. And then other times, not even, like, sometimes it's been because I've just been frustrated. Other times it's been because I'm being strategic, right? But kind of serves the same function. Like the other day, she drove back to school and she's like, I hate this place. I hate, just hate. And I was like, well, maybe you should just come home. And she's like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay. Like, I think sometimes giving somebody the the thing that they're seeming to say they want
for.
You're not trapped. You can
it helps them see their own, like,
what do they actually
their
want?
own contrast, right? And frequently what she'll say is, I would feel worse about that than I feel about this, even though I still feel bad about this. And so she's always been somebody who kind of like sees her way through difficult things, but her first reaction is like, no, right? And so sometimes like a hard, okay, let's do it then, right? It's like, no, I don't really want that. And then she can kind of check herself on a little bit of a deeper level. But like you guys are saying, if you know your kids, because you've been having these conversations about life in general, when it comes to, mental health issues that are more, I guess, stuck or could fall into diagnostic categories, then it's like a natural extension of the conversation into, this seems like this might be different for you now, right? So, but it's tricky, even for therapists. Like, I keep questioning myself now
all the time
about, well, my middle daughter, like, she went through so much, and I don't think she'd mind me talking about this because nobody she knows listens to this, right? No, but she, she's been through all sorts of medical and social and, all sorts of stuff. And at times she's been super depressed. At other times she said she, feels like she's got ADHD and, struggling through a lot of different things. So as she was going through all that and dealing with all sorts of biological issues that could be causing the things I just felt like, let me just be here for you and not do anything reactive, I guess. Like both my wife and I were kind of like, let's not rush to a specific diagnosis on things. Let's not rush to medicating something that we don't really know what's actually going on for you, right? Until, you know, like now we've seen, okay, your depression's really lifted. Generally speaking, like health stuff is leveling out, right? You're in college, and all these like issues related to ADHD are kind of still persisting for you. And then, you know, having some deeper conversations with her and having her meet with some people and get some more data. And then she took like half of one of her friends' pills. Like, I can't remember his Concerta or something. And her friend was like, holy crap, dude. Like, I've never seen you like this chill and engaged. And like, I feel like I'm talking to, and my daughter said the same thing. She's like, it was really helpful. Right. And so, anyway, we've been persisting through all these stupid challenges, getting appointments and stuff, but now she's about to start that. Right. But yeah, on the back end, I'm like, have I been holding back a tool that would have been helpful for you earlier? Would we have maybe bypassed some of these other things if we had done that before? And then on the other hand, I'm like, nobody really felt confident in what was going on for you because you had so much going on, and we didn't want to just start complicating things by throwing a bunch of solutions and seeing what sticks and potentially causing more issues, right? So I don't think that anybody gets through it perfectly. Like, I definitely have things I look back on and feel good about the way we handled it, and things that I feel like we totally dropped the ball on or could have done differently. And but the central theme is like, if anybody asks me, like, did you love your daughter through it all? Like, absolutely, right? And I think that's, like, as a parent, that's always going to be the most important thing. And so if you're doubting yourself in any way, like, kick it back to basics. Is that foundation there, right? And are you trying your absolute best and focusing on like just loving your kid, and then the answers will come.
That's I think that part is really important. Like, I talked with somebody yesterday who was talking about with their kid, you know, like, I guess I'm supposed to do this and this as a parent, you know, like an active parent does this. And it's like, how about you just like be yourself with your kid? Like, I think every dad is like, well, how do I do this right? What am I supposed to say? It's like, just show up and love your kid. Like, I don't have the right stuff to say to my kids. I've definitely said the wrong things to my kids. And like, but my kid, or hopefully, other than the one idiot, hopefully my kids know that I love them. Like, because it feels like, look, that's what like, you go through it with them. That's it. Like,
Yeah.
if they know, hey, look, I'm going through some hard stuff, but this person or these people are here with me. I feel like, man, that's more valuable than saying, oh, we've found the thing, we did it, you know, like,
Yeah.
or you did it. It's like, it just matters a ton to say, like what you're saying, man. It's like, yeah, maybe you said stuff wrong at times or it's like, but your kid knows you love her, and she knows you really, your other kid too. Is like, dad's thing is this. It's like, well, they know you because you share yourself with them.
Uh-huh.
Well, and I think it's interesting. There's, like, I run into this with couples a lot where one person is doing something that to them really communicates love, right? And to the spouse, they're just like, no, like, I don't care that you're doing that. It doesn't communicate anything you think it does. And I think as parents, we'll often fall victim to this trap of like, well, but if I do these things, that will really show my kid I love them. And the one thing that, like, as I've talked to people over the years, that I've found to be like the most universal expression of love is simply like being there for them, showing up for them, sharing yourself with them. Like, I was talking to a friend a few weeks ago, and he was worried that they were going on a trip somewhere, and he was worried that the kids like wouldn't enjoy the trip and wouldn't like understand why it was such a big deal for him to be taking the kids on the trip. And I'm like, dude, just share yourself. Like, your kids love you. They're going to love the things you love. It might not become the most important thing to them, but you love it, they'll love it. They'll appreciate the fact that dad is showing something to us that's really important to him. And I said, so just tell them stories about it. Like, just open up. It'll be fine. You know, your kids, is it going to be the greatest experience they've ever had? Who knows? But will they love it because you love it? Yeah, probably. As long as you're opening yourself to them. And so I think, yeah, we fall victim to, well, I gotta buy them the clothes or the cars or the concerts or whatever. No, you just need to show up with them. You know, like if they're watching something on their phone and laughing, hey, what are you laughing at? I want to laugh. Share with me the thing you're laughing at. Are you going to find it as funny as your kid does? Probably not. If you're like me, are you even going to understand it? No, because they talk like whatever, idiots. But I'm just like, whatever, I can still, like, like half the time I'm not laughing at the thing on the video. I'm laughing at how funny my kid finds it. And so I think, right, but to my kid, it's become this shared thing. Dad's interested in the thing I'm talking about. Dad's interested in the thing that is funny to me. And it becomes a connection and it becomes a bond. And that's much more meaningful than any trip we've gone on. It's much more meaningful than all of these other things that are temporary.
So if you're listening, spacemen, and wondering what this has to do now with talking to your kids about mental health, that is how that happens. Like, part of what we're saying is this needs to just be part of normal life, and the way you talk with your kids about what's going on for them. And the way you do that is by creating relationships with them where you just share life with them. And then you go through stuff with them. And sometimes when you have to have hard conversations about, yeah, it looks like maybe you do have some OCD or whatever it is, like, then you talk about, okay, what does that mean? But that is already established because you've already built the relationship where you're sharing yourself with them, and so they share themselves with you. My kids now come to me and show me the stupid videos they watch that I still don't get, but it's like, okay, cool. I guess we can make
Thanks
fun of the
for
fact it's
sharing.
like, I don't get it, man. He's like, you're old. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
So
my kid calls me Unc all the time.
Yeah. So don't take it too, like, this is actually pretty direct. What we're trying to say is, even if you feel like, oh, it's too late, I haven't built that yet, it's like, well, then start building it. Doesn't matter. Just start building it. Just check in with your kids. And if they don't respond well, just keep checking in. Like, don't leave because they didn't respond. What they need to know is that even when they responded like turds, you still showed up again.
Mm-hmm.
That's your job. So do it.
Well, and it's like Jenna and I were talking about this in an unrelated topic, but it's one of the things that one of my principals taught me early on. Not really. But anyway, it was the idea of, she's like, you guys learn these new things at these trainings. You come back, you try it once, it doesn't work, and you give up. And she goes, why on earth would you expect it to work the very first time you try it? Would you ever let one of your students give up after trying something once? And, every teacher's like, oh, of course not. They would have to try it. Like, it's going to take lots of time. She goes, exactly. So you can't assume that just because the thing you tried the first time didn't work doesn't mean it's never going to work. You've just introduced something new to your kids. They're not quite sure what to do with it. And most people will hold back while they're gauging the sincerity of what's happening. Is dad really engaging with me? Or is dad just trying to get something? And so they'll hold back. But the more you show up, the more you're consistent, the more they're going to say, okay, so this is just what dad does now. Okay. So there you go.
There you go. Wise words.
I think it's time to get beamed up to the QT.
Yeah, I can't wait. All right, we got to go to the drink store. So then come back next time and catch us on the ManSpace. You blew it!